quick disclaimer before we get started. This is not a care guide for Savannah monitors or tegus, and this does not necessarily represent every monitor or every tegu or Savannah monitor specifically on Earth, because I've only cared for one for a couple years, and this one tegu has only been here for a few weeks. But with that said, I thought it would be cool to kind of compare and contrast a bunch of different things with the experiences of keeping a tegu and Savannah monitor. So this is not a permanent guy. This is one that will be available eventually at emeraldscales.com, where we sell and rehome animals. A little bit about him first. He does not like being handled, so I might put him down, but when he's on the ground, when he's in his own space, he's a way better animal. This is a guy that we actually found on Craigslist. The guy that had him got him from someone else, so we've gotten a lot of not secondhand, but third-hand animals. So this is one that has some severe scarring on the back. Makes him look pretty cool. Apparently it's from burns, and his entire tail is regenerating. He also just shed a few days ago, and there's still some bits on the regenerated tail. So we don't want to pull at it too much. We want to make sure it will come off on its own. But if it doesn't come off soon, we'll finish helping out with that. But overall, he's doing very well, and he has an amazing attitude. And then there's Bonnabelle, my Savannah monitor that I've had for about 2 years. Almost the exact same origin, different person. I also got her on Craigslist from a third person. I got her from someone else that was neglecting her. They're both pretty young, both pretty small, both come from terrible backgrounds, and both are here and have to deal with me now. Neither tegus or Savannah monitors are considered beginner animals. It's very confusing deciding what's a beginner animal, whether a beginner has to get a beginner animal, etc. I've gone on rants about this, if there's an intermediate animal, but it's gonna be your first one, do you have to get a beginner animal first? If you ask me, not necessarily. Some people are told oh, well, ball pythons are a little bit harder than corn snakes, so you should start with a corn snake and then get a ball python or some other colubrid. But what if you don't want a corn snake? Then you have this animal you're stuck with. A lot of people do this and they get bored of the animal because they felt pressured into getting something that's easier just so they can have more experience before working their way up to something harder. Now, I don't know if you'd consider these animals, Savannahs and tegus, to be intermediate, advanced. Someone out there is gonna say they're a beginner. I always suggest not to get Savannah monitors. My hope with doing that is I just tell everyone, yeah, just don't get one. Now, this might sound very discouraging, and that's the goal. If somebody really wants a Savannah monitor, then they'll probably just ignore me and get one anyway. And that's okay, but I just want to reflect. I want to show that I would not recommend it. And then if I can give any advice, I will. Tegus, on the other hand, are also considered more advanced than a bearded dragon or something, primarily because of how large they get, the amount of space they can take up, and the amount of power they have if they are a very defensive animal. If you have an angry adult bearded dragon, it might not be very fun to work with, but a bite's not gonna be the worst thing in the world. But then if you come across a full-size, very defensive tegu or Savannah monitor, it's gonna be a bit more difficult. Again, none of the care in this video on tegus is stuff that I've actually experienced, it's just stuff that I researched over the past number of years. So back in the day, I wanted something more difficult. I was looking at Savannahs or tegus. And somehow, throughout my research, I landed on Savannah monitors. I thought they looked a bit cooler. I thought I would prefer a carnivorous animal over an omnivorous. For some reason, I thought they would stay a bit smaller. I thought they would maybe need less space, and maybe they would be a little bit easier. I don't know why I thought that. So let's go ahead and get into the differences that I've noticed more than anything else. Starting off with temperature, this has been a pretty basic thing. Just slap some heat lamps on the tegu, get some UVB on there, everything they need. Temperatures 100 to 110 is what I saw online. Very simple, easy to achieve. That's the same as just a bearded dragon. Took 10 minutes to set up. Savannah monitors, there's no temperature people can agree on. I have been told a range of 90 degrees to 160 degrees. There are many people that don't think there's any in between. Some people do go in between, they say 130, 100, 150, 140, all these little specific things that have worked better for them. My old exotic vet said if my monitor is any hotter than 90 degrees, I am cooking her. I told her I was keeping her about 125, 130, and she was like, yeah, you're killing your monitor. Meanwhile, people online, they hear 135, 130, whatever, and they're like, yeah, you're killing your monitor because it's not hot enough. You gotta go up to 160. 160 is a rare number. Usually it's between 120 and 150 that I hear. For the hotspot, this is not ambient temperature. It's just gonna be the temperature of the surface that they can bask on so they can really heat up. If the entire enclosure is an oven, they are gonna die. If the entire enclosure is 90 degrees, then they're gonna be freezing. Like I said, tegus, they're just like, yeah, I'm chill at 110. It's fine, just leave it be. Now, the size of the enclosure is definitely the most controversial. No, that's not true. What isn't controversial about some of these animals? Another thing that is controversial is size. Now, the bigger the better. I think everyone agrees that bigger is better for lizards. I know there's disagreement with that with snakes. Lizards, I think we're on the same page, assuming it's all set up properly. Now, you can just Google Savannah monitor enclosure size or tegu size. Most are pretty similar. It looks like for both, the average is usually 8 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. Some people will say 6 by 3 by 3. I've been told 10 by 10 by 4. Like, it's the most random sizing. But the idea is, as adults, both of these animals need a lot of space because they're very active, and obviously their bodies are pretty big. I kind of misunderstood a few years ago. I thought tegus needed way more space than Savannah monitors, and that Savannahs could stay in like something a little smaller, but there's also disagreement about that. So basically, I could have just gotten a tegu. Do you get what I'm getting at? What I'm saying is I wish I just bought this tegu. And also, a lot of people are gonna be like, you need to keep this tegu. I really want to keep it. Now it's just not the moment. There's so much going on. I want this tegu, but I can't do it. So, just look at him though. Hi. Next quick one is diet. These are omnivorous, Savannah monitors are carnivorous. I went with carnivorous because back in the day, 2 years ago, I thought that would be easier. It's just all bugs, like fewer things, easier to do. Nope, turns out I prefer omnivorous animals. For the primary reason that plants and eggs and stuff are cheaper than bugs and rodents. I probably shouldn't say that because rodents are gonna kill my Savannah monitor. No, my monitor's primarily on insects with the very occasional rodent. Meanwhile, tegus are just like nature's trash can. They're like a possum or a skunk of reptiles where they just eat everything. Obviously, you want a nice balanced diet, and the idea of trying to achieve a balanced diet sounded very difficult originally, but it turns out it's just easier because you can just buy so much cheap organic plants and stuff, way more variety, and it's not to mention just pretty fun when you can just try a bunch of different foods. Turns out he loves insects, he loves eggs. The previous owner, after criticizing my Savannah monitor care, the previous owner of this guy said that he was too lazy to feed it plants. So he's not used to plants. I could get him to eat some tomato, which is not an ideal vegetable. I think he is starting to eat some other things, so we're getting there. We have to expand his palate. Next up are some things about like how you acquire the animal and the lifespan of the animal. Because Savannah monitors, we kind of have an idea of their wild lifespan, but people have been having trouble replicating that in captivity. I think the average Savannah lives for like a year or two in captivity, maybe 3 or 4. Because so many people just struggle with different aspects of it. While tegus, we already have a pretty good idea of how to keep them alive for their full lifespan. They're even longer than their natural lifespan, which is ideal with keeping animals in captivity because you're removing those hazards from the environment that they're living in. Acquiring the animal, this is a huge thing. It's probably the biggest, for me at least. Basically, every single Savannah monitor is imported and wild caught and sold en masse, which means they're basically all gonna have parasites. Now, there's a pretty decent chance they won't have parasites. Mine did. It's very common. It's pretty much just like, if you get a wild-caught animal, you kind of just gotta check it for parasites. It's something that's gonna come along with them. Meanwhile, tegus are actually captive bred, which is way more ideal. Now, I don't like to buy directly from sellers that just sell imported animals. There are exceptions in my opinion, which I wanna do a video on the exceptions of buying wild-caught animals, but that's why I bought both, or why I bought my monitor from Craigslist, so I wasn't supporting some just like scummy company that paid cheap for them to all be shipped in, dying with parasites. Even just like look at Pekka, you can find some dying monitors. Go to Repticon, you'll find dying monitors. But the tegus in general, although there will be bad sellers, they are captive bred, which is a huge bonus. So that kind of just gives you an idea. Overall, tegus are way less controversial because they're actually captive bred. We know how to care for them. Their care has less debates overall. Like an animal, there's going to be debates, which is good because we always want to find like the best thing for an animal. But for a tegu, it's more straightforward, even if that straightforwardness is not the easiest on earth. But now we go to what I the other biggest. I already said there's like the 3 biggest things. This is the 4th biggest, which is actually the first biggest. This is a tegu that was like abused, and he's just content. He's just licking everything. He hasn't pooped or peed once. Nothing's happened. He's so alert, and he just seems super smart. Now there's a debate whether tegus or monitors are smarter. It also depends on species and what you define as smart. Savannah monitors are much more primal animals. Tegus are like this. Now, not always. There are going to be those crazy tegus that have not been raised like this, that have different personalities, but we actually know how to tame tegus down. Savannah monitors, they're known to just not necessarily tame down. There is no guarantee. We've never had like a ball python that doesn't calm down. It's a ball python. We know how to do it. But Savannah monitors, look online. Like there's a group, non-judgmental Savannah monitor keepers, I think. There's a little judgment sometimes, as expected, but it's way better than the average group. But in that group, there will be, I've seen a handful of posts like, my monitor, I've had it for years, it's not taming down, what am I doing wrong? And most of the time, it's not really anything. It's just a species that might not ever tame down. Meanwhile, tegus, there are going to be those individuals that are very different, take super long. In our case, it took no work, because right from when I picked him up at Walmart in the parking lot, he was just chill, like this, so that should be easy. Of course, this can change. If he's given less attention, he may forget how chill humans can be. If he has a bad owner, he may become more defensive because he needs to protect himself, but they are just such a different species. Bonnabelle's been here for 2 years. She hates me almost equally as much as she did when I got her. But the tegu experience has been very different, and I've been spoiled because we got such a chill one. So what is the average tegu like? I don't know. This is still the only one. He's been here for like 3 weeks now, and it's been a really fun experience. So he'll still be here. He'll be on the site at some point, but he is just the polar opposite of Bonnabelle when it comes to attitude. But you can feel that more of an intelligent connection there. You can almost communicate in a way you have an idea of what the other's gonna do. And this is an animal that I can like, if he stops moving for a sec, this is an animal that I can just like put my finger in front of, I can tap his nose, I can try and trick him into him thinking my hand is food, but I can't do it because he just knows what is and what isn't a worm, what is and isn't a plant or something he can eat. He feels no aggression from me. He realizes that people in the room are not here to harm him. But Bonnabelle goes straight to instinct defensive mode. Anything that's near her, she's gonna poop on it, she's gonna bite it, she's gonna hiss at it, she's gonna run away from it, no matter how much you work, at least in our case here. But this has been a very fun experience. Throughout the research that I've done over the years, I've realized just how similar they are in many ways, but also different in a ton, and how they're going to appeal to different people completely. Am I more of a tegu or monitor person? I don't have any plans for more monitors. I'll just say that. But there's gonna be lots of different personalities between the animals, personalities between the people that want the animals, and there's no bad decision unless you get a Savannah monitor. Then you've made a bad decision. If there was another tegu on Craigslist right now that was this size, yeah, I'd go pick it up. We have the supplies, we have the time. If there was a full size, that would be different. So I've never cared for a full-size tegu or monitor, but these have been some of my experiences between the two of just how different they can be. Check out a membership if you're interested for $5 a month on the site. It would be really cool to see some of you sign up, and hopefully you'll enjoy the perks. I would say it's a pretty good deal. You're getting a lot. It's worth a lot more than $5. Let me know your opinion on these 2 animals that I have here. Do I want your opinion? Yes, I want your opinion. I'm a responsible channel. I listen to all advice. I'm only saying it with that sarcastic tone because of the comment sections on some of my other monitor videos that you can check out. It's always fun. It's an adventure. So let's go on a common adventure. Let me know.